Hi, welcome to A Day in the Life of Kate. My name is Kate. A lot has happened since I posted that last video. I have been in a state of mania, unable to think or do anything, but my mind racing like 100 miles an hour and being pulled in all of these different directions and just like sitting in this state of freeze at the same time is very chaotic. And felt a lot of shame with like the mania part of it, like not being able to sleep, but then being so tired and being so confused about what's happening like internally and where I'm going in life and what's happening in my body. And my friend, I'm like financially constrained at the moment, and my friend knows this and knows like how difficult, or doesn't know, but hears exactly what I'm trying to deal with. And they lent me some money so that I could go to therapy. And I was really struggling last night, and I emailed my therapist at like midnight, and I'm so lucky that she was able to fit me in today. So lucky. And usually when I'm in therapy, she pointed out this pattern where I talk about like, 10 or 15 different things that are all happening at the same time. And then she'll ask me like center and then tell her what direction we're going in. And I think that's something to do with the distraction piece as well. So today I was trying to really hone in on this, and I got to explain a little bit about the mania because this would be like my third time of like consciously being aware that that is what is happening. Usually like the manic energy, I've only really let her like take over, or like been in the witness seat of her taking over, I should say. And I didn't sleep for a week, and I got so much done, or she got so much done. She was just like, right, next, this, and this. And I could tell that she was trying to help me with this in this experience. But I guess I just don't, I feel like this huge like shift in me happening, and I don't know what is happening. I don't know who's doing the work. I don't know how it's all going to be reshuffled. I have like way more questions than I do answers. And yeah, it's like being in this like manic energy of like unable to contain all of this energy and shifts inside. And then on the outside being like completely frozen, that I couldn't take action to do anything. Like going to the bathroom was difficult for me. Like asking my system, like, please help me go to the bathroom. Like, that's the level of freeze I was in. And then, anyway, when I was first told that there was more than one of me, I got this visual. My system showed me there was a pane of glass that had been shattered into however many pieces, I'm not sure, like all different sizes. And they were all held together with what I knew to be spider's web, which is, one of the strongest materials that we know of for the tensile strength. And they were also telling me that they couldn't hold on much longer. And in that moment, my genius idea was to like, let's just break it, Like, I'll pick up like every shard of glass and like piece it back together like perfectly. And basically the response is like, no, that's a bad idea. Like, no, Kate. I'm like, oh, I don't know, I'm all out of ideas. And I didn't realize until this week that that shattered pane of glass has been static, and it's stayed like that while I'm like doing all of this investigating around the edges. But so now this week I'm realizing that that's not like that's how it was when it was shattered, right? But that's not how like my psyche needs to be like together. And my therapist is asking me to like explain what it's like inside, and I said that like, you know, we had that like, you know, pane of glass on one in the XY axis. And now it's like, oh no, we're a 3-dimensional shape, so we're gonna, you know, do all of this work. So it's kind of like Tetris, and how it's like shifting. And while that's happening like in my psyche, it's also like pulling at pieces in my body as well. So it's like, it's as though like, you know, they pull out like a piece of the Tetris 3D puzzle, rotate it, and then put it back in. It's like on stretchy like string, like it's in the right place, but like it's all jumbled up. So that's happening while this is happening in my brain as well, or in my mind, or whatever, wherever it is. And then all of the parts, and alters, I'll just call them parts, they're all talking. They're all saying their piece. They're all talking at once. So when like I say that like it's like 100 miles per hour conversation, I have realized in like recent months, it's not my stream of conscious thought. It's everybody else's conversations happening, and not even conversations, just like they're just saying things like at each other, into the abyss, at me. Like I have no idea. Or there's like conversations where they're like discussing, you know, fighting with each other, not fighting, but being like, you know, we don't know what to do type thing. And the messages between all of those, you know, I was so overwhelmed to the point where like I couldn't actually write, even though we had just had like this amazing experience with this writing exercise. I didn't actually have the capacity to be able to like type or like even entertain it, because I was so scared of what was going to come out. And that was what was like written between the lines of like audio that I can hear, or you know, quote unquote thoughts that were happening, is like this fear and panic, which is like oozing between like all of it. And then I got to the main point, which was that I knew that we'll call her Insanity Kate. She had come out, she had been released from wherever the ego was hiding her from, and my spirit guides were able to extract the essence of that little Kate. And so she was there in pure form before the insanity got to her. That's what I was experiencing. And while I am wondering, me myself, I'm wondering like what is going on, like I'm so confused, she's also telling me that she is confused, because she's just like snapped back into reality. You know, say she's 8, she's just woken up from being stuck back in time, saying like, I'm confused, like what's happening to my body? And then I'm getting that confused with like what is actually happening with my body and what's happening in my mind. And like I didn't have the capacity or like the ability to be able to speak to her in a loving way, because I wasn't speaking to myself in a loving way. And so I was using AI to like help, like, can you please explain like what structural dissociation fractures like look like, or how they can like come back together, and trying to like read to her to explain what happened, while also being in this like very extreme situation where I'm trying to like make sense of what I would call nonsense, but it's not nonsense because it all makes sense when you're looking back. It's just hard to see through the noise and the chaos while it's happening. And so I got to the main point that, you know, this is about a little Kate and connecting with her. And I honestly cannot really remember what happened in the session, but what I want to get to, I can't remember exactly. I got to explain about the ego and about, my therapist is asking like, is she still on guard? And I'm like, no, it's like she's standing back and like watching, like it's not guarding. She is guarding, but it's like she's watching with like admiration and adoration and awe. Like she's like so proud that like I finally worked it out. And then like the relationship dynamic between me and my ego changed from like us like fighting each other, like me not understanding, we're not speaking the same language, to like I had those like this, it felt like I was standing in an auditorium, circular, and then I had all of like my parts, like my ego was like surrounding all of us. And then I have like all of my spirit guides. I even have like my friends' ancestors protecting my back because she sent them to help me. And I have all of my parts and I have all of the little Kates, and I don't know, it was just like everybody was like just watching. It's like she like unfurled and like stood up and like looked up. And my therapist and I got to like help with the language around like what happened to us, what happened inside, how it wasn't her fault, how her like my body like shut down in certain ways before like I had the chance to say the word stop. It's like my system is like so highly sophisticated that it like pulled the pin on like my memories. It's like she doesn't need to be here for this, and just like, you know, wiped that. And then my body would like shut down, and just like I had this respect. I'm looking at this little girl, and I could feel like the strings of trust going to each of like the parts. You know, like, oh, I get it, like you were protecting me, like my body was protecting me. My parts were protecting me. My feelings had to like separate into all of these different people because it was too much for that little girl to comprehend and process and survive. And then I realized it's not just trust that's like here, it's respect. And it's a two-way street, not a one-way. And then my therapist is like, do you think it would be a good idea if you stood up and stood in your power? Because I am that little girl. And part of the dissociation and the denial and the questioning of reality is because that little that little piece, like I am little Kate. That's extremely potent medicine that will take time to like filter in and titrate. I also said that like I got up and I stood in like the power stance and it felt weird, and like it was taking a little bit of time for like my shoulders to relax and like my body to like readjust. And I was telling my therapist I was having trouble seeing. Like when the dissociation is really bad, it's like I'm underwater and I can't see. And there's like a part that knows like which direction to like walk, and like if I was in the street, like how to cross the road even though I can't actually see properly. And I could feel like the dissociation just like coming in and leaving, like massaging this whole experience, because she's not just gonna like be like, all right, she's got it, like see you later. Like she needs to be there like to help massage this, because I realized just before that I am the little Kate in this auditorium where I'm at the center and everybody is watching me. And I'm not quite in that like body yet, but that's my sense of self, which that's what I've been looking for so long. Like I didn't really have an anchor to like latch onto, because I was literally everywhere all at the same time. So yeah, I thought I would just get on and record something while this is like still fresh. I know it will take time to integrate, but like that the threads of trust that were like connected to every like part and every helper that has come to support me in my journey. And then I felt like this, I don't know how to describe it yet, but all of these rods like came, they were green and like shooting out from all different directions, from like different parts of my body, and the direction was just generally up like this. And I feel like they are choices that I make. It's like the scaffolding for like this full potential growth spurt that I am going to experience, I am experiencing. And it's like if I choose to continue to make decisions from my head, then this is where those choices can lead. Or if I choose to lead from my heart, this is where those choices can lead. Or if I follow the path in my hand, this is where those choices can lead. But it's all in the general direction, which is like just strongly going up. And yeah, with that trust, with each and every part, and it being a two-way street, that just like quelled so much like fear and panic in me, that it's like this scaffolding that has been present and has been running my life in my own absence. It's highly, highly intelligent, beyond anything that I could ever comprehend or even believe. And to have that trust and respect internally, I think I'll find different words or more words to describe that experience after I process this a little bit more. But my system is like telling me like I need to be outside and I need to go camping this weekend and be out with some big trees and in the fresh air and just a little kid. All little Kate wanted last night was dry noodles, which is such a like 8-year-old me thing. I just love the crunch, you know, and the saltiness. And we've been reading this book which was given to us, Alistair Reynolds, House of the Suns. Apparently I will like sci-fi if I just get out of my own way. And this story is ironically about a little girl who split herself into 1,000 clones and launched them into the galaxy. And it's addressed to the Kate Collective. You are loved, you are not alone, you are safe, and you have power. And I got given this on the day that we helped Cora, our little cat, go back to heaven. And her mission here on Earth was to help me get to a point in my recovery that she could leave this Earth knowing she'd completed her mission. And Cora has been with me in many, many, many therapy sessions, and she would always like jump up on my lap when things were getting really heavy. And then when I was safe again or feeling okay again, she would just get up and off she'd go. And today, my therapist shows me her cat for the first time in 6 years of working together. And she said that he piped up at like exactly when Cora would usually, so yeah. I still haven't grieved her death yet, but listening to that Coldplay song that was on the playlist we made for her parting. It's all connected. It's all related. Lots of love, Kate, and the Little Kate Collective.